The dark truth behind her perfect family. True crime story. The night was quiet in the small town of Maple Creek until the sound of sirens broke the silence. Red and blue lights flashed across the perfect white fence of the Harper family home. Inside, police officers stood frozen in disbelief. Emily Harper, the woman everyone called the perfect wife and mother, was sitting on the kitchen floor, her hands shaking, covered in blood. The entire room looked like something from a nightmare. Her husband Daniel and their teenage daughter Lily were nowhere to be found. Only the family's golden retriever barked wildly in the corner, as if trying to say something. When the officer asked Emily what happened, she just whispered, "I finally told them the truth." And then she fainted. The next morning, the town couldn't stop talking. The Harpers were the family everyone admired. The perfect house, perfect smiles, perfect life. Daniel was a successful architect. Emily was active in church and school events, and Lily was the sweet honor roll daughter. But now their house had police tape around it, and rumors spread like wildfire. What truth could destroy a family like that? 2 weeks earlier, everything had seemed normal. Emily was organizing a family dinner to celebrate Daniel's latest business award. She smiled as she decorated the table, making sure everything looked perfect. She always did. But deep down, something had started to feel wrong. Daniel had been coming home late almost every night, claiming he was working on a big project. He had also become cold and distant, sometimes snapping at her for no reason. One afternoon, while cleaning the living room, Emily's phone buzzed. It was a message from an unknown number. "You deserve to know the truth about your husband." Her heart raced. She thought it was a prank at first, but when she opened the attached pic her hands trembled. It was Daniel, with another woman, sitting at a cafe, holding hands. Emily couldn't breathe. She stared at the image for a long time before deleting it, pretending she never saw it. That was what she always did: hide things, keep the peace, and protect the image of their perfect family. That night, she smiled through dinner while Daniel and Lily laughed. Everything looked fine, but something inside her began to change. A few days later, Emily noticed small things around the house, things that didn't make sense. The family computer had strange financial files she didn't recognize. Daniel's phone had new passwords, and one evening, she saw him sneak into the basement after midnight, locking the door behind him. She waited until he fell asleep and went down to see for herself. What she found made her legs go weak. Boxes, dozens of them, filled with papers, cash, and photos. Photos of people she didn't know, documents with fake names, and in the center of it all, a small locked safe with her name written on a sticky note. Her hands trembled as she touched it. She didn't open it. Not yet. She went back to bed, pretending nothing happened, but her mind raced all night. The next morning, she tried to act normal, but Daniel seemed to sense something had changed. "You're quiet," he said, sipping his coffee. "Everything okay?" "Of course," Emily replied, forcing a smile. But later that day, she noticed Lily acting strange too, distant, nervous. When Emily asked her what was wrong, Lily just whispered, "Dad told me not to tell you." Emily froze. "Tell me what?" she asked softly. Lily shook her head, tears forming in her eyes. Before Emily could say another word, the doorbell rang. When she opened it, there were 2 detectives standing outside. "Mrs. Harper," one of them said, "we need to ask you a few questions about your husband, his business dealings." Her heart stopped. And that was the moment Emily realized the perfect family she built her life around was about to fall apart. Emily sat across from the 2 detectives in her perfectly decorated living room. The same room that once held family game nights and Christmas mornings now felt heavy, airless, like it was hiding something. Detective Cole, a tall man with sharp eyes, flipped open a folder filled with papers and photos. "Mrs. Harper," he began calmly, "we're looking into your husband's company. We have reason to believe it may be connected to financial fraud and possibly identity theft." Emily blinked. "That can't be right," she said quickly. "Daniel designs buildings. He's not..." He's not that kind of man. Detective Cole exchanged a glance with his partner. Then maybe you can explain why several of his clients don't exist. Emily's stomach turned cold. She tried to think of something to say, but her words stuck in her throat. When the detectives left, she sat in silence for a long time. Outside, the sun was shining. Kids rode bikes down the street. Everything looked normal, but nothing felt normal anymore. That night, Daniel came home late again. She waited in the kitchen, pretending to scroll through her phone. "The police came by today," she said, her voice steady. Daniel froze in the doorway. "What did they want?" "They asked about your clients," she replied, "about fake names, fake businesses." His eyes darkened. "Emily," he said quietly, "don't get involved in things you don't understand." Her heart pounded. "Then make me understand," she said, her voice trembling. "Because right now, it looks like you're hiding something from me, from all of us." He slammed his hand on the counter, startling her. "I said drop it." She didn't sleep that night. She couldn't. Every sound made her jump. Around 2 a.m., she crept downstairs and opened the basement door again. She turned on the light and stared at the boxes. One of them was open now. Inside, she found more photos. But these were different. They weren't strangers. They were people from their neighborhood, and every picture had a small red X drawn through it. Her hand shook as she flipped through them. Neighbors, friends, even the family's pastor. Then, at the bottom of the box, she found a photo of herself. No red X, just a sticky note with the word, "Soon." She stumbled backward, nearly dropping the photo. What was Daniel doing? What did all of this mean? The next morning, Emily decided to take Lily and leave the house for a while. "We're going to your aunt's for the weekend," she said. But when she went to wake her daughter, Lily's bed was empty. Her phone was still on the nightstand, the window slightly open. Emily screamed her name, running through the house. Nothing, no note, no sound, just the quiet hum of the air conditioner and the faint smell of Daniel's cologne. When Daniel came downstairs, he found Emily crying on the floor. "She's gone," she shouted. "Where's Lily?" He looked confused at first, or at least pretended to be. Then his expression changed, cold, distant. "Maybe," he said slowly, "you shouldn't have looked in the basement." Emily froze. "What did you do?" He stepped closer. "Everything I've done," he whispered, "was to protect this family. You have no idea what kind of people we've been dealing with." Tears streamed down her face. "Where is she, Daniel?" Before he could answer, loud knocks echoed through the front door. "Police! Open up!" Daniel turned toward the door, then toward the back of the house. "Don't," Emily said, realizing what he was about to do. But it was too late. He ran out the back door, disappearing into the woods behind their home. The officers burst in moments later, shouting commands. Emily stood there shaking, pointing toward the woods. "He took her!" she cried. "He took our daughter!" Detective Cole radioed for help, backup, and within seconds, searchlights filled the dark trees outside. And as the beams of light moved through the night, Emily whispered to herself, her voice breaking, "I thought we were perfect. I didn't know the truth was this dark." Hours passed, and the woods behind the Harper home turned into a maze of flashing lights and echoing voices. Officers shouted commands through the dark, search dogs barked, and helicopters buzzed overhead. Emily stood on the porch wrapped in a blanket, her hands trembling as she watched. Her once perfect house was now surrounded by police tape and chaos. Detective Cole walked up to her. "Mrs. Harper," he said gently, "we found signs of a struggle near the creek. We're doing everything we can to find Lily and your husband." Emily nodded weakly, tears rolling down her cheeks. "He wouldn't hurt her," she whispered. "He's her father." But deep down, she wasn't sure anymore. By morning, the search expanded to the nearby highway. Then, just as the sun started to rise, a deputy called over the radio. "We've got something." Everyone ran to the creek. There, half hidden in the mud, was Daniel's car. The driver's side door was open, and inside was a small pink sweater, Lily's favorite one. Emily fell to her knees, clutching it tightly. "She was here," she cried. "She was here." Detective Cole gently helped her up. "We'll find her," he promised. Hours later, a fisherman called in a report from 5 miles downstream. He'd found a man sitting by the water, drenched, shaking, and talking to himself. When officers arrived, it was Daniel. He didn't fight. He just looked up and said, "It wasn't supposed to happen this way." When they brought him in, Emily demanded to see him. "Where is she, Daniel?" she shouted through the glass. "What did you do to Lily?" Daniel's eyes were hollow. "You should have stayed out of it," he said softly. "I was trying to fix what my father started. It was never about us. It was about them." "What are you talking about?" she cried. But before he could answer, he leaned back, closed his eyes, and whispered, "You'll find the truth in the safe." Then he stopped talking completely. Detectives searched the house again and found the small locked safe Emily had seen in the basement. Inside, they discovered documents that revealed Daniel's company was a front, part of a larger operation laundering money through stolen identities. He had tried to get out, but the people he worked for threatened his family. That was why he hid everything, and why Lily had been taken. A week later, a phone call came in from an unknown number. Emily answered it, her heart racing. On the other end was a faint voice, her daughter's. "Mom, they said Dad told them everything," Lily whispered. "They're letting me go." Before Emily could respond, the line went dead. The next day, a passerby spotted a young girl walking barefoot near a highway gas station. It was Lily. She was safe, but shaken. When the police returned to question Daniel, he was gone. Somehow, he had escaped from custody during a transfer. No one knew where he went, but one of the detectives found a note in his cell. It said only 3 words: "Protect our family." Emily and Lily eventually moved away, trying to start over. But sometimes, late at night, Emily would hear footsteps outside the house or find strange letters in her mailbox with no return address, each ending with the same phrase: "The truth never stays buried." The perfect family was gone forever, and the dark truth that tore them apart would haunt them for the rest of their lives. Follow for more chilling American mysterious crime stories. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and comment if you want more real-life mystery stories and true crime investigations.